want to become a top producer, this video is going to give you the complete formula of all of the different components you need in order to go from a new agent or an agent doing little to no deals to becoming a top producer and closing multiple deals every single month with clients coming directly to you. In this video, I bring on Brian Stevens, who's an agent out of Florida, now very seasoned and experienced in the industry, but breaks down all of the things that he wish he knew as an agent when he was struggling that led him to get to the point that he is doing multiple deals every single month now. Now, while we dive into a number of different things in this video and everything he did in order to get to the point where he is at now, we focus primarily on three things that you're going to want to make sure you don't miss out on, which is building your personal brand, leveraging referral networks that are very strategic, but also focusing on Google reviews and what he's been able to do to attract clients for free at scale, which is something that you can do as well and you need to be doing if you want to build a thriving business. So I'm really excited for this one because it is extremely valuable as we start getting into it, and you'll see that this is a wealth of knowledge shared by a very experienced agent, which doesn't always happen. So before we dive into this interview, two quick things. Number one, I'm going to link all of Brian's profiles below if you want to check him out, his YouTube channel, Instagram, to see what he's doing, because we talk about that throughout this video. But also I'm going to link his calendar link below if you want to talk about partnering with him and getting his help to help you build massive momentum, like he's helped a lot of new agents that were previously struggling become strong producers within a very short window of time. So without further ado, let's bring on Brian, an experienced agent who's going to give you the roadmap to becoming a top producer. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. And today we've got on a very special guest, and we're going to be diving into all strategies and tactics of how to build a wildly productive business and talking about a number of different things that our very special guest, Brian Stevens, has been able to become a master at, and he's very graciously willing to share his blueprint with you. So we're going to be diving into a ton of different things, including referral networks to get repeat and referral, building your personal brand, focusing on certain strategies, as well as bringing things full circle with ongoing coaching and how to approach that in order to guarantee that your business continues to grow. So really excited for this. And Brian, thank you so much for coming on today.
Hey, thanks, Mike, so much. I really appreciate you, and just looking forward to this time together.
Yeah, me too, man. It's going to be really exciting. It's been incredible to hear about what you've been able to do over the last number of years and building such a productive business, which I know during a shifting market, a lot of agents are looking to achieve for themselves, but not many have the roadmap. And that's what I know that we're going to be diving into today, and I'm excited for it. So before we kind of get into the tactical, why don't you just give people a bit of a background and an understanding of who you are, what you've been able to do over the last number of years, and then we'll start getting into it.
So I appreciate it, Mike. So what happened was I started in the building business. My dad was a home builder for about 25 years here in Lakeland, Florida, which is kind of central Florida between Tampa and Orlando. And so I kind of grew up in a model center, grew up in the real estate business. And in 1997, I got my license, my general real estate license, and just loved it and continued to work hard at it and learn a lot. When the market started going south in 2009, I was pretty active in my church. The church asked me to go on staff and kind of help out. And so it was perfect timing because the market was going south, and they said, you can come on for a salaried job. I'm like, okay, sounds good for all the right reasons. And so I was in full-time ministry until 2015. So 6 years. I did full-time ministry, and then I got back into the market because I started missing the real estate market and the business in 2015. And when I did that, things had changed in 6 years. As you can imagine, the technology had evolved. I felt like I was starting fresh, although I had somewhat of a referral network. I felt like I was starting fresh in the business. So I had to kind of learn to reinvent myself back in 2015.
Yeah, that's incredible. And it's been amazing to see that, since 2015, you've been able to build this wildly successful business with your partner, Russ, as well, who's just an absolutely, amazing person in this industry and a true role model. So it's great to see the dynamic that you guys have. But, let's talk about what happened between 2015 and, now being 2023, what you were able to do in order to build massive momentum, maybe give people some context as to the production that you guys are now doing.
Okay, I kind of broke it down. I thought, what are a good 5 things that really just kind of make sense if I had to sum up my 8 years back in the business? And the first thing I thought was, integrity, honesty, and a straightforward approach to business is huge. When I say that at my listing presentation, people just kind of nod their head and look at me like, Are you being for real? You're a salesperson. You're going to be honest with me. You're going to have integrity, and you're going to be straight up with me. And I want to ensure them, yes, that's the case, because that is how you build your business of referrals, right? And long-term business is being honest with people, even when it's hard, when there's tough news to deliver, having integrity, saying you're going to do, and then just do it, right? Just doing the right thing. And then just kind of operating in that, and then having people trust you, know, like, and trust is huge. So it takes time to build it out and just happen overnight. But when you follow this so basic formula for success, you start to get the name in the community, and people will start to chime up, about you like that. And another thing I also learned, Mike, was with other realtors. I'm primarily a listing specialist. And so if I've got another 1,000, 2,000 realtors that are showing my listings, they're part of my sales force. They're part of who, makes me a top producer. So I want to treat them as a client in a sense. And I want to treat them with honesty and integrity. And when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. So that has been just such a foundational truth in my business that I would just encourage all those listening today to just know, even when it's hard, even when you're going to lose the commission, even when you have to walk away from something, it's absolutely the right thing to do every single time.
It makes complete sense. And I think that's really relevant now more than ever, because as we start to go into a shifting market, I saw this when I got started out, is the market was, at the bottom, in my city at least. And you start to see a lot of agents that have commission breath, if you will, and they're, pushing to get the deal, to get the commission, even if they know it's not the right property, it's not the right interest rate, it's not the right area. They're just pushing their clients to get the deal because times are a little bit tough, and they're not looking over the client's best interest. And I know there's going to be a lot of people that are listening that are going to be able to say, hey, I've actually done that before, unfortunately, because there's very few agents I've ever met that have not done that. And that's really unfortunate. And the ones that thrive are the ones that actually do have that integrous business approach, because it's, unfortunately, we live in this dishonest industry for a general sense. And the ones that shine are the ones that look at that long-term approach of the customer journey of, okay, I might not get the deal today. The next few months might be a little bit more financially difficult, but long-term, what that's going to turn into is those clients coming back, them sending me more people. And that long-term delayed gratification approach is what builds that scalable business, which is really incredible that you've done. And I know that a lot of agents kind of disregard the agent aspect of it, which is the realtor kind of network that you've been able to build. And I know we'll talk about networking for a little bit here, but the network is so important where, there's agents I know that are actually, not the nicest people in my city. And I know because of how they treat other agents actually sometimes don't even show their properties to clients. And that's not ethical. It's not moral, but it's what some people do, unfortunately. So by treating other agents like a client, I think it's a really important notion to have, because they're the ones that will sell your listings. They are the ones bringing the buyers 99.9% of the time. So let's talk about what you've been able to do to expand your network and becoming a part of different networking opportunities in order to build that ecosystem. Because I know there's a lot of agents that listen to this and they're saying, well, Mike, I don't have this network. I wasn't in the ministry for, 5 years. I don't know anybody, but you took a very strategic approach to expanding that network. So let's dive into that for a little bit.
I did. I kind of, not to jump to social media yet, but I'll let people know I was back in the business. But yet I also had my referral base. But again, it had been 6 or 7 years since I had touched base with them. So they're like, so what are you doing now? What's going on? So I started looking really hard and looking at referral networks. So what can I do? Again, low budget, low cost, that I can go out and partner up with a referral network. So I went on to the Dave Ramsey Trusted Real Estate Agents. It was called a Ramsey ELP at that point. I'm a big Dave Ramsey fan, debt-free and all that good kind of stuff, whole nother topic. But I went onto his site and you could be an endorsed local provider. So I actually applied for it my first year and did not get approved because there's production goals. I believe you had to have, it was at that time, back in 2015 or 16, 28 or 32 deals per year or something. And I had just fallen shy of that. So I went back a year later. You had to send in a copy of your transactions, and I got approved for it right after that. So I've been to Ramsey, now they call them Ramsey Trusted Agents, for that period of time. And it's been a tremendous source of business. I mean, a lot of times they're good clients, they're solid clients, and you pay a referral fee on the back end, but I didn't have to spend money on the front end, which no matter where you are in your business, sometimes that's nice, right? I mean, you pay on the back, no matter what you're going to pay, front end or back end. In my case, I just chose to do it on the back end. And I will say this about Ramsey Referrals. I have gotten many repeat clients off of that because you pay Ramsey front time, you're paying one time on that. I've had many call me 3 or 4 years later, say, Brian, I'm ready to sell this house now. Now that's a referral client and there's no referral fee paid. So it's a great thing. So really the two that have propelled me, I would say it's about 20% of my business, Mike, that I would say is Ramsey number one. And then Upnest has been another one. And I think they just got bought out by Realtor.com, I believe. Upnest has been pretty solid. Again, it's like a 30% referral fee on the back end, but I've gotten some good solid clients from that. You follow up with them, you do your thing, you email, you text, you come out, and many cases with the Upnest, I'm presenting, right? I'm competing against 2 or 3 other agents as well as Ramsey too. So it's helped me to stay sharp on my game. These are not it's not automatic business like the referral is. So it keeps me always learning, always getting better. How can I be sharper? What can I do different? How can I stand out? How can I add value to this client to where they really want to go with me? So there's some other ones out there, Mike, like Effective Agents. There's 2 or 3 other ones out there. Ideal Agents, been okay. But there's some good ones. Home Light. I know some people have had success with Home Light, but I just would suggest that for anybody listening, if you're really trying to go out and get some business, you don't have a lot of money and advertising dollars up front, partner with these guys, let them send you leads, pay them on the back end. And again, that'll pay forward as that business churns too. So that's been great.
Yeah, certainly. And I think, 2 things that I'd love to just touch on before we dive into some of the branding strategies that you've used is, a lot of agents that I see have a very short-minded, again, almost instant gratification perspective towards referral networks, where I see a lot of people that are going to, hear this and say, well, I don't want to pay 30%. That's so much. Well, at the end of the day, 30% of 10K, if you give that away, is a lot better than 0% of 10K.
Right.
And when you start looking at that, you see a lot of agents that are saying, I don't want to give away 30% or 50% or whatever. Well, if you're not doing any deals or many deals, then why you don't really have the right to say that at all if you want to build a thriving business. And I think it's important to understand that you have to give in order to build. And a lot of the times people are looking at that short-term mentality or perspective of, well, I don't want to give 30% away on this commission. But if you give 30% away on this commission and that turns into repeat and referral where you're getting 100% of it, now it's a different ball game. And I think a lot of people need to shift their perspective from the individual transaction, but rather to the lifetime value of a client. And I think, for any of the agents that maybe don't have the deal flow to get into Ramsey or aren't in a market where they can get into some of the other ones, why don't we talk for a second about what the ministry has been able to do? Because I'm assuming, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that a number of your clients have come from the faith-based community, where similar to me, when I was getting started in the beginning, a lot of my clients came from the car community because it was very authentic to me. It was genuine. You could connect with people about a passion that wasn't business related, but then inevitably the conversation ends up becoming about, well, what do you do and what do I do? So why don't you talk about tapping into a network that is just very genuine and, passionate for you?
Yeah, thank you. No, it's true. I mean, we go to a large church. It's probably 2,000 or 3,000 people right here in Lakeland, and really, it's been a pleasure to help a lot of the people in the church. And here's the thing: people in the church aren't perfect. They're not always nice. So I kind of still pick and choose who I want to use, right? If we're keeping it real. But it's been a great way to, and again, I don't go hand out business cards and services. I just try to have relationships with people, right? It always comes back down to that. And then at one point, there was probably 4 or 5 realtors in our big church, and people would just use whoever. And again, that's fine, whatever. But lately, probably the last couple of years, as I've gotten older, right, more seasoned, it seems like that's been a lot bigger market share for me. Is again just consistency. Staying true to who you are, just treating people right, doing a good job for the client, just working hard. It's very simple. It's not complicated, right? And so that's been a big part of that. Recently, we had some staff pastors coming in from Ohio And I probably last year I got a $750,000 sale from somebody, a $500,000 sale, getting ready to write a contract, I think next couple of days on a $450,000 sale. So, there's been a lot of great business from that. And I just count it all a blessing. I think it's awesome, man. Anytime I get a chance to help somebody out, especially from the church, there's always that extra accountability. You better do a good job, but I put that on myself anyways. So it's always a blessing to be able to do that too.
Of course, I love that. And I think everybody should take a step back and think about, what can you tap into that's very genuine to you? Because that is obviously a big part of your life. Cars are a big part of my life. And unfortunately, what I see sometimes is agents saying, well, I don't know what I want to do, so I'm just going to show up to exotic car shows. And if you can't talk shop with people and have a genuine, authentic, transparent, conversation, people are going to see that. And that's not the way to approach your business, is to just go into a community because there's a lot of people there to connect. You have to do what's, genuine to you. So let's talk about branding, because I think you've done an incredible job by leveraging social media. And I think, we meet a lot of different people that are of different demographics and different age groups. And sometimes people think that social is not for them, or that their ideal client's not on social media. And you've done an incredible job of building your personal brand, leveraging things like Facebook and now YouTube. So what have you done in order to build that personal brand and start to use that to not just become, but also remain top of mind?
So Mike, I think the branding has been like one of the pillar things for me in the last 8 years. And, Facebook has been my go-to. I'm very thankful to be partnering with you, because YouTube is becoming that now. And you're really teaching me a lot, and I'm in your YouTube training course. And so I'm super excited about that. But Facebook has been huge for me. And so my goal is to post something every day, right? And I kind of mix it up. I'll do business, I'll do personal, I'll do something, my kids, my family, something funny, let people know I'm real. We're not perfect, right? We're dumb, we're stupid, we do funny things. And then, market activity. I kind of just want to mix it up, because I don't want to be that guy. And sometimes I'll post new listings 2 or 3 in a row. I don't want people to be scrolling and go, oh, he's just posting about houses, that's it. Yeah. I don't want to be that guy, because then all I'm going to do is see your business. You want my money. It's not that. I really try to mix it up. And learning to be more intentional what I post, when I post it. But every day I try to post something. I've got, close to 5,000 friends, if you will, whatever that is, right? But I've got a big market that really does help me in my area, my local area. So continuing to focus on how to be the hyper local agent, right? To bring value to people in the community. Really going to unleash that this year a lot more. However, so Facebook has been huge. The other thing I started doing on Facebook was taking my iPhone, setting it up this way, and walking through homes. And you and I have talked about this a little bit, and doing a 2 or 3 minute video. It took a little courage to start doing a couple years ago, but I'm like, I'm going to try it. I don't really care. I can talk. I'll hold the camera steady, and I just walk through homes. And man, I'll get several hundred views, and 500, sometimes up to 1,000 views on Facebook. And people started coming up to me randomly last year and saying, hey, I watch your videos on Facebook. I'm like, oh, you do? And so I'm learning people like to walk through homes. I mean, we kind of know that, but they're telling me that because I put them on Facebook. I also learned you don't put it on YouTube and then post it on Facebook, because they don't shake hands very good together. So I learned that, so I don't do that, but I also put it on YouTube. But Facebook has been really, really big for me with that, and just being very intentional on my branding. It'll bother my wife sometimes, because I like to post, she doesn't. And I'll tell her I'm going to post something. I'm just like, honey, this is part of the branding. Okay. That's kind of my excuse. But I'm also just wanting to let people know who I am, what we're doing. I'm normal. I'm your friend. I'm your neighbor. And I'd love to be your realtor.
That's incredible. And I think, I genuinely love that you talk about leveraging Facebook, because a lot of people think that the video uploading on Facebook is not worth the time. And I think two things to touch on. Number one, what you alluded to, for anybody that didn't catch that, is the fact that you upload your videos natively to Facebook and natively to YouTube. Because again, being competing platforms, when you upload to YouTube, then share the link on Facebook, Facebook
Yeah.
does not want to take traffic off of its platform and drive it to the competitor. So I love that you do it natively. But we've had a couple other agents on these calls and share the value. And they've also expressed that they have a lot of people coming to them from Facebook and the videos that they're uploading natively. And I think it's an untapped market where a lot of people are starting to say, okay, in previous years, the engagement went down significantly on Facebook, but now that they're starting to dive more into video, competing with TikTok and different things like that, it's actually starting to ramp back up and do very, very well. And I think at the end of the day, if you're going to be recording the video, why not have omnipresence and share it across all? Because you just never know where people are looking. You can make assumptions, but sometimes and many times those assumptions are wrong. So I love that you're doing that and covering all the bases. But you know, you are starting to leverage YouTube now, and I'm excited to learn a little bit more about your strategy there and what your plans are for YouTube, because you've started to build momentum with your brand across other platforms as well.
Yeah, I'm really just learning a lot from you, and you know, watching a lot of your videos, getting my setup, my equipment, and going to start making some videos for agent attraction, and just kind of leverage a little bit more with my walkthrough videos. You know, I want to learn from a couple of the pros that you've been able to help to really, you know, blow up their business. So that's really been on my heart for about a year now, and excited to partner with you because now I'm with a team, you know, of this partnership that I can really learn from and do, you know, things the modern way. So that's really helped. But just a couple of things just to touch on that as far as the branding goes before we leave that I just want to mention. I've also got a couple bus benches in the local area. And you may say bus benches. Well, it's a small billboard that sits on a road where there's 30,000 people that are going back and forth, you know, every day. And they're looking at my mug, like it or not. You know, and just, I want to be top shelf aware in there if they're thinking about buying or selling. So bus benches have been huge. I've got 4,000 email addresses that I'm sending through a newsletter. And then the other thing, Mike, if it's okay, if we can just shift real quick, is Google reviews. I've been really, really big on Google reviews. I know you could do a whole video on that, but here's what I would say. I've been very strategic on Google reviews over the past 2 years. I've got over 165 ratings. I'm at 4.9, which I understand it's not good to have a 5.0. I've got a couple bottom feeders, whatever, but you know, so it's really been helpful because people are looking for me. And so backwards here, what I do intentionally with my folks, I plant the seed. I will say, whenever we finish up our business, you know, part of my expectation of what I would love for you to do, if you're happy with my services, is to give me a 5.0, a 5-star review on Google. And so I plant the seed, and then I'm learning. Again, I'm always tweaking the process, but a day or two before closing, not after, because sometimes they get too busy, then they don't do it. But a day or two before closing, I'll text them and I'll email them a nice little preset email or text. I'm ready for my Google 5-star review. And then they'll respond. It's great. You always reply back, right? Because I think Google likes that. And so I'm up to, like I said, 165, and I want to just continue to grow that, because when people are looking for agents, those people who are not referrals, I'm finding they go, you know, they go stalk you, right? Yeah. And they go to Facebook and YouTube, and the Google review has been a good source, and it's free. I know they went to Google Maps recently, so it's a little bit different, but that's just been that's been a big thing. So I just wanted to throw that out there too.
Of course, I think there's a lot to unpack there that's really important. And again, you know, even though I focus a lot on the social media side of things, there's a lot to be said about, again, omnipresence, not just physically, but digitally and socially, and all encompassing. And I think, again, a lot of people are saying, well, bus benches don't work. Everything works if you approach it properly. And I think if you're farming areas and you want to be, you know, remain that top of mind personal brand, then having your face on different bus benches strategically, there's a lot of weight that carries behind that. And I think it's important for people to say, you know, I'm not just going to take one medium and put all my eggs in one basket, because what happens if an algorithm changes, if a platform changes, well, that bus bench is not going anywhere. And one of the things that I'd love for you to maybe unpack is looking at nurturing that database. What would you include in a newsletter, and how frequently would you be sending a newsletter?
Yeah, so I just started, I partner with Outbound, just throwing that out there, and we've been doing it for probably 6 months. So I do the newsletter, which is twice a month, okay, twice a month. my assistant kind of frames it up for me, and I kind of mix it up, Mike. This week I'm putting 2 listings for sale, and then I'll put a Google review, or a review, I should say. And then sometimes I'll just kind of theme it around where we are. Many times I'll just put, okay, we just sold this one, we listed this one, here's a review. So I kind of mix it up a little bit. And so it starts to, build relationships. It's like a drip twice a month. And it's for long-term nurture, really. And I want to build that up to 10,000 emails and continue just to build that. And again, with something we just started doing, it's a template. It's a nice piece of information or data at the front end. Then you can insert, whatever you'd like to I go with a little bit of the broader approach. You get 3 slots to insert. You can do some where it's not quite as much. And then it kind of builds out the bottom template as far as get a hold of me. And so, and it's very consistent. It's again, just a way to drip on that database, but the phone calls, the texts, touching base with the database, staying connected with them, continue to try to get better at that is always good, because I know they want to hear from me. They already know, like, and trust me. So just to continue to try to tap into that database, I know is, man, something I want to get better at, and I can definitely improve at, because it's a gold mine, right? And something I want to get better at with the database, but that's one way I do it.
I think that's amazing. And I, before going on to anything else, I really want to unpack Google reviews, because that is something that is so powerful and so underutilized by agents. And it genuinely shocks me, because when you look at consumer behavior, if you want to go to, Valentine's Day is tomorrow, right? It'll be, in the past, whenever this video goes up, but Valentine's Day is tomorrow. And for anybody that's looking at a restaurant to go to for Valentine's Day, they're going to Google top restaurants in Lakeland, and they're going to look at the ones with the most reviews, and then they're going to choose one of the first 3 with the highest reviews. Yet I know multiple top producers, even in my own market, that I know do over 50 to 100 deals a year, and they've got 5 Google reviews. And of course, if you're relentlessly prospecting, or a lot of them have family connections in the industry that are parents or builders, or whatever the situation is, you can still get by, but you're leaving so much on the table by not leveraging this free organic traffic by the nature of clients you've already worked with. And I think that's an important process to build into your journey, or your customer journey, with working with any buyer and seller, because I did that as well. Similar to you, when excitement is at its peak, emotions are at its highest, right before possession, sending in an email for both a Google recommendation or review and a Facebook recommendation or review, and say, hey, I would love if you could write something, again, if you feel like it was, a great journey. But there's also really strategic things people could do, knowing that Google is a search platform, where with Google reviews, if you are, for example, in Lakeland, and you have a Google review that says, Brian is without question one of the top realtors in Lakeland, Florida. Well, top realtors in Lakeland, Florida is searched by other people. So when you can build in keywords to your Google reviews, now your reviews can rank for free. And I think it's really cool to just see that this should be a guaranteed part and staple in everybody's process, because over the lifetime of your career, if you start to build momentum, you should be in the position to have hundreds of Google reviews like you do. And that's going to allow you to just bring this organic traffic, where I think you've done it perfectly, in the sense of you've built this foundation of reviews, but you've also tapped into omnipresence across Facebook and YouTube and Instagram, to the point that when people see the reviews, they can actually validate that you are active, because they can go to any platform and see that you're actually on there.
Yeah, and you, again, you always try to reply to the review, and if you can get a picture uploaded to that too, it's great. And here's the thing: the Google review, I'm not having to brag on myself, right? Which hey, who wants to do that? Let other people brag on you. They're your third-party testimony, and when you hear that and you see that, it just helps them believe in you so much more and to trust you, and then they continue to look at other sources. But it's been good, and I'm just starting on that. It's only been a couple years, and man, and here's the thing: I will bug them for a Google review, and I am not shy about that. Literally, probably need to do more of it, but text them 4 or 5 times, email them 4 or 5 times. Need that Google review, please. post closing, can you give me that Google review? I push for that because, you know, in my mind, I've helped them buy or sell a home, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Man, the least you can do is give me a 5-star review. It'll literally take you 5 minutes. So, you know, and that's my heart on that. I'm like, just please provide that for me. It's really going to help me help other clients, wonderful like yourself, to help them and help them in real estate. So, yeah.
I think that's a good way to phrase it too, is making it about them and not about you. Because when people are like, oh, I want this, well, now it seems like this selfish approach, when you can say, hey, it was incredible to work with you and your beautiful family, and being able to just see your excitement when you found the perfect home. I would love to help others like you find their perfect home and make sure that they work with somebody that is genuine and has good morals and is, you know, going to do the right thing. And the only way that I can do that is from these reviews that I get from people sharing the message of what the journey's been like. And now it's about them, not you. And one of the other strategic things before we go on is, you know, I used to have this big, you know, 5-foot sold sign with a smiley emoji in the middle. And I would take a picture of my clients holding that every time they bought or sold a house. And that's a perfect picture to then include in that email and say, hey, if you don't mind, please include this photo in the review. And now you've got a photo of them smiling, excited, their properties in the back, whether they bought or sold. And now you're just making it easy, because people don't want to do something that's going to cause a lot of time and effort. So what I used to do is I would literally screenshot on Google, my Google business profile, and I would mark it up and say, you know, here is where to click to write the review. Here is what to type into Google to find this. And I would make it so that it was effortless and didn't take much time, because people don't want to go to the way to do anything. So I love that. And I think, you know, that's a great way to kind of to pull that point full circle. But going into the next thing, you know, you focus very heavily on listings and ongoing coaching and mentorship. So why don't you unpack, you know, what that journey has been like for you?
Yeah, I've learned, Mike, that obviously when you have listings, you own the market. And so I've really focused on, and I'm starting to use that verbiage lately. I'm a listing specialist. You know, it sounds good. And I want to kind of portray that in this market, that this is really what I do, because it's really my focus. Yeah. Because when you have listings, you have signage everywhere. And, you know, you've heard of the law of multiplicity of signs. When you have 4 or 5 signs, people think they see your signs everywhere. They think you've got 15 or 20. Same with bus benches, believe it or not. So they see your signs, it's branding you, they've got stuff for sale, they're doing business. So I've really focused on getting the listing, knowing that it's going to be business. And a couple things, Mike, and you allude to this, with part of just having a successful business, is I want to leverage my time, right? Mm-hmm. I've been doing this 20 plus years in the business. I don't want to work weekends and evenings a lot. I will do that for a select few. And the longer you're in this business, the more you can limit and know who you want to work with, you know, and when you want to work. So now this weekend, I worked a little bit more than I typically do, but I'm building my business even more. So listings allow me to leverage that. And you know, if I'm going to work on a Saturday, I try to protect Sunday, but again, once in a while, you have to do what you got to do to serve the client. But if I've got an appointment on Saturday for a listing, my wife knows it's going to get the business, right? I'm going to lock it in for 2 hours. This is huge. This is part of my business. So leveraging listings, again, you get sign calls, you get buyer calls, you double dip. I had a client call me probably about 2 months ago, wanting to list a property. She said, I see you have a condo listed at this location. I've got a condo. I want to talk to you about that. Mm-hmm. Out of the blue, because I had a listing. I've also been able to partner with a local builder here who's an upper end builder. And so I've been able to use his listings for branding, and I've got a couple of them listed, and they're 700,000 up. So they're upper end for this area, and putting those on Facebook, walkthrough videos, having those signs up has also helped for sign calls, buyer calls, open house opportunities for some of my team. And as I build my EXP business here, that is part of what we offer as a team, is open houses in the area if you join us locally here. So I really focus on my listing presentation. You know, it's a dog and pony show in a way, right? You want to do it professionally, and I'm always trying to tweak it and get better at it. Not perfect by any stretch. But as I've continued to do it, the more I realize how much more work I've got to do. And so I'm working on being a stronger closer at the end. And so, but just presenting the marketing, the add value, the vendors I give them, my Google reviews, we talk through all that stuff. So getting the listing is huge. And if I don't get the listing, I'm pretty competitive. Somebody else gets it. Here's what I think to myself. And I joke with my friends, well, they picked the wrong agent, right? Yeah. They should have picked me. Now, and I know that's not 100% true, right? I mean, they picked the agent who they felt best with, but I always want to win the listing. And so I go into that listing with a mentality is, I'm here to help these people, and I know I'll do a very good job. I'm not going to do a perfect job, but I'm going to do a very good job in helping them out. So my listing business is everything. I want to continue to thrive on that. And again, you alluded to this earlier. When we're listing specialists, we are really working with other realtors a lot, and so having that relationship with them, they know that I know homes that are getting ready to hit the market. They will call me and say, do you have something coming in the Lake Collinsworth area or what have you? So, man, if I could encourage other agents, man, go after those listings. It will absolutely help you leverage your time, leverage your business, and set you on a good pace for a long-term successful career.
I think that's a good segue into a question that I know a lot of people are going to have just based on listening to this, which is, I understand the importance of listings. I want listings. If I have no listings, what would your recommendation be to an agent right now to say in the next 30 days, here's what I would do to get a listing?
I think part of it is tap into your sphere. You referenced to a long time ago when you started off door knocking, maybe, putting it out there. I would also, if I were you, go talk to some of your people on your team in your company and say, hey, you've got a vacant home. Can I go video your home? I'd like to just put it on my social media. Can I share that? And that's again going to give you a presence on, on Facebook or on YouTube that you've got listings, that you've got homes for sale. So I have agents lean into me and say, can I market your listing? Well, of course you can, right? I want you to sell it. So that would be great. So, and just again, adding value to people saying, here's what I can do when I list your home. So again, perception is reality, right? What people perceive you is their reality. So if I need listings, I'm in this market, I need to get in front of listings, videoing homes, talking to people, showing them I've got access to listings. Here's this listing I'd like to market. You want to begin to, speak to people's heart and that what they're looking for in an agent and what you can do. So it takes a while to build that listing business. Let's face it, as a new agent, but as long as you stir the pot, you churn it, that will come over time.
Yeah, certainly. And I think it's a really good point because even if you don't have any business, you can make it look like you do have a lot of business by posting, listings of other agents and taking videos and upload. Like there's a lot of people I know that's how they built their foundation is they were doing model home tours, or they were doing other listing agent tours. And the average person's not going to go down the rabbit hole and look at who's actually listing that property. They're going to make the assumption that it's you. And then inevitably, when they see that in their mind, the perception is that you're very active, they're going to be impressed by that and want to reach out and have a discussion. So I think it's important to play on that. And, one of the last things is that you really focus on, always learning. And I think, coaching and ongoing mentorship is really important because one of the biggest concerns that I see within real estate of agents that are not where they want to be is that they stop learning when the repercussions are immediate, which is in high school or post-secondary with college or university. But, if in, schooling, if you don't do what you're supposed to do, you get a big fat F and you have to go redo it now. Otherwise you fail. Like the repercussions, you feel it immediately. But with business, if you don't pick up the phone, if you don't knock the door, if you don't record that video, if you don't go to the networking event, nothing changes today or tomorrow or next week. What happens is 6, 8, 12 months down the road, when you didn't learn the skill sets to keep you on top of your game, you end up going broke and failing out of the industry. So what is it for you that you did in order to continue to always be learning, always staying ahead of the curve and maintain that coaching relationship?
Man, that's awesome. Yeah, I started coaching about 4 years ago and I heard, leaders are learners. So if you want to lead, I'm a 20-year veteran in the business, but when I stop learning, I kind of die, right? I mean, I'm just going to become whatever. I'm going to become your average agent. So I started coaching 4 years ago, and it was an investment in my business. And my coach has been amazing. We have weekly calls, 30-minute calls, and he's been great for accountability, to talk through things. He owns some franchises, in the Florida area. and he's been fantastic. So I've been always, intrigued at how coaches' minds work. And so I try to pick things up. And then as I partner with other agents, with our current company, I can then take some of that strategies and some of those things and implement them, it with them, which I want to talk about that in a minute. But I think coaching is honestly, Mike, you sometimes in the real estate business, you're in a silo, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes. And so to have somebody that you can just talk to one-on-one and just tell them what's going on in your business that really cares for you and that you can bounce stuff off of has been huge for me. So probably about 2 years ago, my coach talked about time blocking, and he kept on telling me you need to do lead generation. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, lead gen. And I honestly kind of sidestepped it for a while. Probably two and a half years ago, I said, let me try this. Actually, I started this way. I said, well, Mike, Matt, I said, I've got a closing here at 9:30 or 10. He goes, well, why'd you schedule that time? I'm like, I don't know, because that's when they could close. He said, well, okay. So if you start lead genning, you bump them to after your lead gen time, 11:30, do an afternoon. He goes, you're not going to lose the business. And I went, okay, I guess I'm not. So I had to take that fear out of if I time block that I'm going to lose business. And honestly, those people that want to bump into your time block, they're probably not your clients anyways, long-term, right? For the most part. Now, that's not to say you don't modify that once in a while. Don't hear that. But so I started lead genning 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And that has absolutely transformed my business big time. I mean, huge. And it's not easy, and I goof up and I don't hit my numbers all the time, but he has drilled that in me, for a long time now. And it's honestly been one of the single biggest things that helped me to step up my production every year for the last 3 or 4 years. It's been huge. So, but it was coaching. It was that accountability piece that really just kind of helped me to get to that point.
I love that. And, I've got a couple other things to unpack there quickly, but, to give people some context, like what are you doing during that lead gen time block?
So I do a couple things. I am looking at my Ramsey referrals. I'm looking at my UpNest. I'm looking at my database. I'm looking at some other things, and I'm dialing for dollars, right? It's an old phraseology, right? Yeah. But I'm picking up the phone. And so sometimes I'll get in the convenient habit of just texting. Okay. I love to text. We all do, but you got to pick up the phone. That's where your money is. And I heard this at a conference last year. And I wish I had it from me, but it basically says your real estate business is all about having conversations about real estate. That's all you do.
Yeah.
And it kind of hit me in the face. I'm like, okay, it's not always texting and emailing, which I do a ton of. It's having real estate conversations, which means pick up the phone, put in your earbuds, have the conversation. Even if you don't have a lot to say, have that conversation. So I've been having to be pushed to do that. So lead gen time is picking up the phone, having the conversations with a lot of people. Sometimes I'll even call vendors. I'll talk to a realtor. It doesn't always have to be buyers and sellers, although it primarily is. Sometimes it's my business partner for a short window to talk about some strategies or something, but it's really trying to follow up with people that I've got information on. Are you ready to buy or sell yet? And here's the other thing, Mike, that you alluded to. Sometimes if I ever get lazy on my lead gen time, if I just say, I'm not going to do it this day, here's what my coach said. So what you're doing, Brian, is when you don't lead gen that couple of days, you're going to hurt yourself 2 and 3 months down the road. Mm-hmm. You're not going to feel it this month. He goes, you're actually starving your kids when you do that. He was making the joke about that, right? But the truth is, you're not going to get the business that you would have been 2 or 3 months from now if you don't lead gen and do that. You're not planting the seeds. So I know if I have a slow closing month, it's probably because I was not disciplined in my lead gen time a couple months prior to that. Yep. So I literally time block it. Nothing else gets in the way unless it's something really, really radical. And then I will time block it for later in the afternoon. But I've really learned to protect that time. And I would encourage any agent that has never done that. Hey man, start with an hour, right? Just start with 1 hour, do it. Just start, I used to get a yellow pad and I used to write down 3 things. I would just write down, new clients, old clients, and something else. And I would put a hash mark. It was old fashioned, but it would actually give me a visual right in front of me. Oh, you only actually made 4 contacts this morning. whatever it takes to get you going, whatever system works for you, work whatever you can, but work it and just don't put it off.
Yeah, 100%. And it's really important. You said a word that is very near and dear to my heart, which is that, ongoing mentorship is an investment into your business. A lot of people look at money going out as always an expense, but if you can spend X amount per month to get ongoing mentorship and guidance and make 2, 3, 5, 10x that per month based on the results of being consistent and diligent and disciplined, well, that's a pretty good return on your time invested. Whereas a lot of people are just looking at, well, I can't afford it. In many cases, for the people saying that they can't afford it, they can't not afford it, in the sense of their business will die if they don't do something drastically different and prioritize the things that, again, we all know that lead generation in the traditional sense is not fun, but you have to do the not so fun things to earn the right to eventually do more of the fun things. And a lot of people haven't built that momentum where they're trying to just focus on what they want to do and not what they need to do. So pulling this full circle, you've recently made an incredible transition from Keller Williams to our partnership here with the Wolfpack at EXP. And I'd love for you to maybe unpack, why you ended up making that decision. And then more importantly, what people can expect when being able to partner with you and myself.
Well, probably last fall, we were with KW for years and great company. It was awesome. Again, nothing bad happened whatsoever. Last fall, I started really kind of considering, what do I want the future to look like in this business? And Russ, who is an amazing business partner, you mentioned that earlier, he is, I don't know, the season of his life he's in, and he's starting to semi-slow down, although Russ never slows down. He's just a worker. And I started thinking, where do I want to be the next 10 years? And the truth is, Mike, the last couple of years, it had been a blessing. I had probably made more money in GCI than I had ever, right? And I know a lot of people because of the market. But I thought, at 57 years old, what do I want to do in the next 10 or 15 years? And I really started reflecting on that. And GCI is great. However, I was thinking there's got to be more. And so I wanted to start mentoring agents, training agents, helping agents out, pouring whatever I've learned in 20 plus years into them to try to help build their business and help them to have long-term success. And again, somebody in real estate once told me, real estate is not rocket science. It's not super hard. You just have to do the work and be disciplined and get up and get dressed every day and do your job. And so I thought, I really want to help agents like that. So I started looking, and I went to lunch with my business partner and I said, hey, Russ, there's a change coming. I don't know what it is, man. I just want to let you know, as my business partner, something's getting ready to happen. I said, and I don't even know if we're supposed to stay where we are. I just kind of threw that out there. And then, Mike, honestly, I started looking on YouTube and looking for videos. And I had been looked at the EXP plan about 5 years ago, but the timing wasn't right, I thought, back then. And so fast forward, I started looking at YouTube and I watched your videos and a few more, and the information that you presented and the knowledge and the experience, it made very clear sense. And you did a great job of explaining it. I'm like, I've really learned a lot. And the more I thought about it, the modern model that we have it's a no-brainer with the stock, with the rev share, with the 50 hours of live training every week. It's amazing. So, once we kind of saw the light, so to speak, right? I'm like, man, I've got to do this. So I talked to Russ. We were very strategic. We said, let's do this the right way. We're taking the high road. And we did it, had that conversation with our broker. He understood it. And we made the shift. And we're just super excited for the future to help other agents and to partner with the Wolfpack.
Well, I think that's, all those words mean the world to me. And I think the most exciting part is that, based on the experience and the, extraordinary experience that both you and Russ have combined, a lot of agents are looking for that experience to get passed down to them, but don't have the $1,000 a month to hire a coach or something of that nature. So there is an opportunity now for agents to partner with you and get that experience for free, which I think is going to be life-saving for so many agents, especially during the shifting market. So I'm going to link all of Brian's contact information below if you want to have a conversation with him and talk about what that looks like. But for anybody that's curious about taking their business to the next level, what does it look like for people that are now looking to partner with you and Russ and get your help to increase their production?
We started a mastermind, a mastermind Zoom. We do that on Wednesdays. And so that's been kind of critical in us. It keeps us sharp, and we want to just help other agents out. And if you partner with us, man, we're gonna help you, mentor you, have phone conversations, text messages, and really just kind of pour into you, what we know, right? And give you tidbits of information and hopefully wisdom at just doing the right thing and having a long-term approach to the business. And locally here, it's open homes, it's masterminds here, and it's kind of sharing what we've learned over between Russ and I. We have over 50 years experience between us, which kind of dates me a little bit, but that's okay. I'm good with that, right? But we just want to pour into other agents and just encourage and help other agents, whether you're a year in the business or 5 or 10 years in the business. We just want to encourage and help you and add value. And as we learn, right, because we're always learning, we want to pour into other agents also. So that's kind of our thought going into this, Mike.
I love it. And again, with 50 years of combined experience, for people to get that external to this opportunity, that is tens of thousands of dollars in mentorship and coaching a year that you can, invest into your business or your family by aligning with people that are going to be able to give you that same level of coaching and guidance for free, in addition to all of my modern strategies and the daily calls that we have. So I'm super grateful for this, Brian. And again, thank you for coming on here and sharing all of your incredible information and what got you to the point of being such a successful high producer.
Hey, thanks, Mike. Really appreciate the opportunity and looking forward to a great future with you and the Wolf Pack, and just to see what's going to happen. Excited.
Definitely. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, please make sure to check out all of Brian's channels, which again are linked below. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video.